Welcome to the PJ Who podcast. I'm your host, PJ. And as you guys know, the NBA season just kicked off about a week ago. But before I get into that, I actually want to take this time and moment and to give all praise and glory to the man above, first and foremost. But I also wanted to thank you guys for supporting me. I actually recently just passed 100 subscribers, and I couldn't thank you guys enough for having faith and belief in me, and that kind of just when I see that number and I see the interactions I have with you guys, that just lets me know, I'm doing something, and I'm going to keep putting out the content. I'm going to keep engaging with you guys because I believe we as a community are building something special. And something that I always tell people is that you can't have the kingdom without the village, but you can't have the village without the community, So it all goes in conjunction when you're building that a beautiful foundation. So I want to thank you guys for really supporting me. And like I said, I'm going to keep putting out the content, okay? But so now we can get into today's episode. As I just said, the NBA season just started. And with that being the case, obviously, if you've watched my previous episodes, I have been giving you guys different topics pretty often. It's been a lot of different topics every episode. Now, since the NBA season is beginning, we're kind of going to just slim it down to about 4 to 5 different topics. And this will be the first episode that I am displaying these topics with you guys. So we're going to start off the episode. My very first topic that I'm going to talk about is a segment I like to call PJ's Echelon. And essentially all this segment it's literally my power rankings week in and week out, okay? So with that being the case, I want to give you guys the parameters of what that entails, okay? So with PJ's Echelon, I'll be ranking my top 10 teams, and then I'll have 2 teams that are like at the end that are like on the bubble, okay? So keep out for that. But what my criteria is for this, I'm basing it off of the eye test. I'm basing it off of statistically where you sit, your team's record, but also your strength of schedule, okay? So keep that in mind. And also something I also want you guys to keep in mind. This list, it's a progressive list. Like I tell you guys, I'm not a perfect man, but I am a progressive man. So week in and week out, you may see teams that are at the top today. You may not see them for 3 months, okay? So just keep that in mind as we go through this list. Like I said, this is the very first time I've done anything like this. I've never done a power rankings list. So that is what that's going to entail, okay? The second thing, it's a segment I like to call What's New. So this can entail a multitude of things. It could just be news that's happened in the NBA. It could have something to do with a trade or injuries or just something that I noticed, or even just something that I just want to put on you guys' radar, okay? That's another new segment that I'm going to be doing. Another one will be Games of the Week. So games either I really, really enjoyed or games that have some type of significance to it, okay? So that's Games of the Week. And obviously, yes, Games of the Week, I'm only going to probably do about 2 or 3 games because obviously we know there's 20, 30 games a week going on, and obviously I can't. Don't get me wrong. I try to watch as many as I possibly can and try to keep up with all of them as much as I can, but I don't have time to go through every single game. So mainly I'm going to be picking games that I really enjoyed watching or ones that I think like has some type of significance to them, okay? Lastly, the last thing I'll be going on is a segment I like to call Rookie Talk. So Rookie Talk is literally what it sounds like. I'm just going to be talking about some of the rookies that have performed very well up to this point. Or even I may even talk about rookies that are, kind of disappointing, okay? So that's what that segment's going to be. And also something I want to let you guys know is that this episode is being recorded on Tuesday, October 28th at 2 p.m. So any games that happen tonight, Tuesday night, obviously won't be featured on this episode. So within the rankings, just keep that in mind as I'm giving you my rankings, okay? Because there's obviously, I think there's like 4 games tonight, and then tomorrow, Wednesday, there's like 12 or 13. There's a lot of games tomorrow. So just remember that, okay? I just wanted to give that to you guys. But other than that, we're going to dive straight into it. And we're going to start off the segment. Like I said, my first segment I'm going to talk about is a segment I like to call PJ's Echelon. And this is my top 10 power rankings for this week. And the list is progressive, okay? It's a progressive list because I'm not a perfect man, but I am a progressive man, okay? So let's just jump straight into it, okay? So the team that I have ranked number 1 on my power rankings with a record of 4-0 is the Boston Celtics. Maybe no surprise to some. And so Boston, up to this point so far in the season, they rank first in offensive efficiency, 14th in defensive efficiency, and overall net rating, they're 4th. Now, so with Boston, I kind of just want to note it to you guys if you didn't already know. Opening night, Boston ended up breaking the first half record for threes made. They made 19 in the first half. And then overall for the game, they tied the record with, I believe it was the Bucks. I think they're tied with the Bucks if I remember correctly. But they ended up hitting 29 threes for the game. I thought it was really funny. I was watching the fourth quarter and they pulled their starters and the bench literally probably took about 9-10 threes and they just went ice cold and missed all 10, so they couldn't break their record. But I thought that was really funny. So that's Boston. Number 2 on my list. This team is 3-0. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City, up to this point, they're 17th in offensive efficiency, first in defensive efficiency, and they're second in overall net rating. Opening night, in my opinion, Oklahoma City just like a pack of hounds, okay? The way that they came out, they look young, vibrant. Like I said, they just looked hungry, man. Wait, let me correct myself. They don't even look hungry. They look starving. You know, the way they went into Denver, and Denver's no easy place to play. Even though Denver right now is kind of struggling, that's no easy place to play, going to the Mile High City. So I have to tip my hats off to them for what they did. And then they ended up blowing out the Hawks. And they blew out the Hawks and somebody else they just beat up on too. But their next game is against the Spurs. But yeah, Oklahoma's looking great so far. Chet, I ain't going to lie. Chet, obviously it's only been 3 games. We know this has been 3 games, but Chet right now is he's looking like the number 2 option. Like he's looking really good right now. Chet's looking really good. I think Jalen Williams he's finding his way too. He'll catch up to everything. But yeah, so that's Oklahoma at 2. Number 3, another team that's 4-0, and maybe a surprise to some, but it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland right now ranks 2nd in offensive efficiency, 4th in defensive efficiency, and they're 3rd overall. So far, what Cleveland's done up to this point in the season, they've blown out 3 lottery teams, and then they just beat the Knicks last night at Madison Square Garden, which to me was a really good game. I ended up watching a good chunk of the game. Darius Garland was hooping in that game. He had 35 points and was truly just getting to wherever he wanted to be on the court. But then also Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen, they all have looked really well. So that's why I have Cleveland at 3. And yeah, it's like I said, they just blew out, they blew out lottery teams, but they also, like I said, had a quality win over the Knicks. I thought was a quality win. Number 4, again, maybe a surprise for some. This team is 3-1. That's the Los Angeles Lakers. They finished right up to this point. They're 5th in offensive efficiency, 20th in defensive efficiency, and 9th overall. They have good wins, in my opinion, and that's why I have them at 4, is because I have good wins over the Timberwolves, the Suns, and Sacramento, and they barely lost to Phoenix last night. And AD just looks really comfortable and dominant in JJ Redick's system right now. This is the first real year I would say that it's AD's team, and it's like very prevalent. It's very, we can see it. We can see that it's AD's team, and so far this season, that's why I have them at 4. Okay, number 5 on my list. This team is 3-1, and that's the Phoenix Suns. They're right now 13th in offensive efficiency, 6th in defensive efficiency, 8th overall. And in my opinion, they have wins. They've had pretty quality wins as well. They have wins over the Clippers in overtime, which the Clippers is a frisky team right now. They beat the Mavericks, which I thought was a really good win, and they beat the Lakers last night. The only loss comes to the Lakers, and I just don't hold that over their head. You lose to the Lakers right now, I'm not going to hold that over their head. Otherwise, this team has looked a lot better than the team from last year. I have spoke multiple times about Ryan Dunn. Before all of a sudden, I'm seeing a bunch of people talk about Ryan Dunn. I've been on Ryan Dunn. I've been on him. You can go back and check. In my pre-draft episode, I talked about how important and how big of a steal he was gonna be. I also talked about him in my post-draft episode quite a bit, and I talked about him in my Phoenix Suns season preview. Okay, I've been on Ryan Dunn since last year when he was at Virginia because I'm a Duke fan, so I had to watch all these ACC players, anyway. But I've been a fan of Ryan Dunn. I just thought it was funny. All of a sudden, I'm seeing people now. All of a sudden, Ryan Dunn's looking really good. He's looking like a steal. I've been on Ryan Dunn, okay? So I just have to set that record straight to you guys. And you can go back and check those episodes if you want to, okay? But Phoenix is at 5 for right now, okay? Number 6, this team is 3-1, and that's the Orlando Magic, okay? Orlando currently 7th in offensive efficiency, 8th in defensive efficiency, and they're 5th overall. And, they've dominated. They shut out the Nets and the Heat. They kind of got blown out by the Grizzlies. And then they had an impressive win against the Pacers where Paolo just had 50 recently. I watched that whole game all the way through too, and as I was watching, I could just tell. I was like, oh yeah, this dude's he's on one tonight because he was just doing pull-ups left and right, and he finished. I think the first quarter, I think he had like 19 at the end of the first. Halftime, he ended up with 37. Second half, they started getting the ball out of his hands a little bit more, but I was debating on putting them at 5 over the Lakers, but I just feel like what the Lakers have done since their strength of schedule up to this point has been better than Orlando's. I had to put the Lakers at 5, but Orlando was for sure in my conversation putting them at 5. But also something else I kind of want to tell you guys, and I literally said this statement before his low 50 piece, but I believe within the next 3 years, I think we're going to be having that conversation about Paolo Banchero as him being the best player in the Eastern Conference. That may be a hot take, may not be a hot take, but I do believe within the next 3 years that's going to be a conversation that's going to be had. Obviously, Tatum will still be Tatum will be in his prime or whatnot too. Giannis might not even be in the East. We see what's going on in Milwaukee. But yeah, I think Paolo Banchero within the next 3 years, I think we may be saying he's the best player in the East or in the conversation for sure, no doubt about it. Okay, so that's Orlando. Number 7, I have the Number 7, the team's record. Sorry, I kind of gave it away as the Timberwolves, but their team record, they're 2-1 right now. They're 12th in offensive efficiency, 11th in defensive efficiency, and they're 12th overall. They beat Sacramento at Sacramento, then they beat Toronto at home. The team does look a lot better from opening night. Obviously, opening night they were playing the Lakers, and it was a super emotional night for the Lakers. Obviously, you got LeBron and Bronny playing together. You guys, JJ Redick's very first game. So, and also it was Julius Randle's first regular season game with this team, and they just look a lot more comfortable in my opinion right now. They just look a lot more comfortable. Julius Randle looks like he's kind of found his groove. And Ant even told him, "You do you, okay? We'll build around you. We'll, do our thing around you. You do you though." And I see it. I see it from what they're doing currently, and that's why I also don't hold the loss over the Lakers over their head too much. But I also couldn't justify putting them over the Magic either as of this point right now. I have no doubt that they'll move higher by the end of my rankings. Okay, number 8. This team is 2-1. It's the Los Angeles Clippers. They finished as of right now, they're 24th in offensive efficiency, they're 3rd in defensive efficiency, and they're 7th overall. They lost to Phoenix in overtime. They beat Denver in Denver. They beat Golden State in Golden State. Derrick Jones and Chris Dunn are looking like lockdown players on the perimeter right now. I ain't gonna lie. They're looking like they're locking stuff down. Zubac is playing like a top 5 center in the NBA right now. I'm just going to say it. He's playing out of his mind. And Norman Powell is hooping. Truly as a committee, man, the Clippers, they're doing really well. James Harden, his efficiency numbers are not looking good, but at least he's being aggressive. And that's literally what I said in my Clippers season preview. I was just like, James Harden just needs to be aggressive. I said he don't need to be Houston James Harden, but he needs to be aggressive, and he's throwing them shots up. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I think James Harden is taking like 23, 24 shots a game. He's throwing that thing up there right now, and that's what he needs to be doing, just being aggressive. And like I said, Zubac is really feeding off of him. Their pick and roll chemistry, it's a thing of beauty right now. Okay, so that's why I have the Clippers at number 8 because I like their strength of schedule. I like what they've done so far. Number 9, another team that's 2-1. It's the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas right now, they're 15th in offensive efficiency, they're 5th in defensive efficiency, and they're 10th overall in net rating. So they beat up on the Jazz and the Spurs, but they lost to Phoenix, so that's why I have them a little bit down. But they truly just passed the eye test for me. Klay Thompson is breaking records. He's breaking records for players, being in new uniforms and whatnot. And I feel like they're also just doing it by committee. I really like this team. This is a really good team. And I've said it before, and my biggest concern with Dallas is literally their health. And that's why I didn't pick them to go back to the finals. Literally their health. Obviously, it's only been 3 games, so obviously still a lot more basketball to go. But this team has really, truly been really good. And I have no doubt in my mind that they'll make their way back up into and probably higher than 9, But right now, I have them at 9 because both of their wins came at home against lottery teams, okay? So they haven't really played anybody yet. But Dallas is still looking strong, okay? So I have them at 9. Number 10, this team right now, record is 2-2, and that's the Memphis Grizzlies. And that may be a surprise to some. Right now, Memphis is 8th in offensive efficiency, 24th and in defensive efficiency, and they're 15th overall. I picked them for the last spot because both of their losses came with neither Ja or Jaren Jackson playing. Either one game, it was one game Ja didn't play, another game Jaren Jackson didn't play, so they weren't fully healthy. But when they were fully healthy, they destroyed Orlando, and you see where I have Orlando ranked, and they blew them out the water. This team, no, not even joking, this might be the deepest team in basketball. Jay Huff is playing out of his mind. I kind of talked about Scottie Pippen Jr. a little bit in my Memphis Grizzlies season preview, how I can see him being a backup point guard and how they should make sure he's a backup. He's playing very well right now. They got little Jalen Wells coming off the bench shooting the ball. This team, they might be the deepest team in basketball. I'm going to say it right now. As of today, Tuesday, October 28th, they are the deepest team in basketball, okay? They're still missing Vince Williams, and they're still missing G.G. Jackson, okay? But yeah, so that's Memphis. I have Memphis at 10 right now. Two teams that I kind of have on the fringe bubble, that's on the outside looking in. One is the Sacramento Kings because their two games that they lost were close games. They lost to the Lakers in Minnesota, so they're right on the outside looking in. Another team is the Knicks. The Knicks' loss only came to the Cavs and the Celtics. And then there's nothing wrong with losing to those teams either, obviously, because look where I have those teams ranked. But they did have a quality win. They did beat the Pacers, so I have them right on the outside looking in. Now, this is my very first time doing the power rankings thing, so let me know who you guys have in your top 10, and let me know if you like this power ranking thing that I'm doing, or if you don't like it, leave down in the comment section below your opinion about the power rankings, okay? The next thing that I'm going over to is the next segment is called What's New, okay? Give me 1 second. Now, with this segment, again, I'm just going to be giving you guys just some news around the NBA or some, stuff that's broken, like records that have been broken or injuries or whatnot. So this is just informational stuff, okay? So I'm going to just go straight down. And obviously, I just talked about it. LeBron and Bronny becoming the first father and son duo to play in the NBA together. LeBron now holds the record for the most missed field goals in NBA history, which comes as no surprise, okay? Like that's a no surprise thing. And then another thing that I thought was really interesting, the Denver Nuggets. Not the Denver Nuggets, the Denver City Council, the city of Denver, had decided to approve this development project around Ball Arena where the Nuggets play. It's 55 acres, and they're building, I think, like building structures and stuff around it, like multi-purpose building structures around it. So I thought that was very interesting, and I just wanted to throw that out to you guys that around Ball Arena, it's going to look a little different, at some point in the future. Thought that was a pretty big project. Another thing, unfortunately, DeJounte Murray is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks after undergoing surgery to repair his fractured left hand. And he ended up injuring this in the opener. Another player, Taylor Hendricks, suffered a fractured right fibula. It was in a dislocated ankle. It was very gruesome. I actually seen it happen. It was very gruesome. Very gruesome. Shout out to Taylor Hendricks, though. I've talked about him a lot. I talked about him in my Utah Jazz season preview and last year my podcast too when they drafted him. He's a promising young 3-and-D power forward in my opinion. So speedy recovery for him. I don't know if he'll be back this year or not. Another thing that happened, Kevin Durant is now the 8th player in NBA history to reach 29,000 career points. And another weird thing that happened, the Los Angeles Clippers, they terminated a trainer, and he plans to sue the team after he claims he was wrongfully terminated. He said that Kawhi Leonard was subject to unsafe and illegal treatment for his injuries. So that's something I thought that was just mind-boggling. I was like, whoa, didn't expect that. So that's something that I just wanted to throw at you guys. And just a thought of mine, and then we'll get out of this segment. So pertaining to the Golden State Warriors, it's been, obviously I had Jonathan Kuminga on my most improved ballot, but the kid has hardly played. And so what I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, and my Golden State fans, please, if I'm wrong or if you have a better insight, let me know. But I'm thinking they're getting ready to trade Jonathan Kuminga, or they want to trade Jonathan Kuminga. I think that's why they're not playing him that much. And that's something that I'm going to be paying attention to, because that's weird. How are you not playing your young, promising player? He starts, but he doesn't. I don't know. Something is up in Golden State, just like for sure something is up in Milwaukee with Giannis and Dame and that whole thing. I don't think they really, I ain't gonna say they don't like each other, but I think their communication styles may just be different. And yeah, so that's something to watch for sure. What's going on in Milwaukee as well? Something I've kind of noticed. It ain't looking good in Milwaukee right now. But yeah, the whole Jonathan Kuminga thing too, because Jonathan Kuminga, I believe he'll be a restricted free agent this summer. I think it's this summer he'll be restricted free agent, but they didn't extend him. So they want to trade Jonathan Kuminga. So that's something to keep on you guys' radar, okay? Just something I wanted to throw at you guys. So the next segment, and that's that segment. So if you guys have any news that you guys, want to throw it in the comments section. We can talk about it. Maybe I do know the news, maybe I don't. And the only reason why I didn't say more stuff is because I'm not trying to make these episodes too long. Because obviously I have more information to throw at you guys. But I don't want to make my episodes too long, okay? So that's why I didn't say more news. Because there's way more news that's happened, okay? But I just chose that stuff because of that reasoning. So my next segment, it's games of the week. Again, I'm only picking 2 to 3 games. And this is based on me watching the games, or games that I really enjoyed, or games that I thought had some type of significance, okay? So I'll give you guys the 3 games and why I chose them, and give me 1 second. I'll give those to you guys. So this game took place on the 25th. It was actually between the Pelicans and the Trailblazers. Pelicans won the game 105-103. I chose this game because Jeremy Grant was on a burner. He shot 8 for 17 from 3. Scoot looked very poised and patient that whole night as well. I know a lot of people are very critical of Scoot Henderson. I'm not critical of him because where I come from and how I see it is if you compare his rookie numbers to rookie Russell Westbrook and even rookie Chris Paul a little bit, like his numbers were very similar last year. And to me, he's just somebody that just plays very sped up. He plays similar to Westbrook. He's very sped up. And I think Scoot will eventually slow down and become a lot better. But this was one of those games where I felt like he was playing patient, confident, and poised. And I could tell Chauncey left him out there because of that, because he was down there in crunch time, but then he made a bad mistake, and then they took him out the game and put Anthony Simons in the game. But also, Jordan Hawkins was hooping. He was sniping. That boy, he had 24 points. He shot 8 for 12 from the field. And B.I. iced the game. He had a fadeaway. And then Zion had a man amongst boys block. Okay, it was a crazy block. If you didn't see it, you should go back and watch it. He ended up blocking Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons was driving to the hoop, and Zion just engulfed the ball. I was in attendance of the game. I went to the game. I watched the game. But yeah, so I put that game because that game, it was a really good game. Okay, it was a really good game. That's why I chose that game. Another game happened on the 26th between the Lakers and the Kings. The Lakers ended up winning 131-127. I chose this game because LeBron scored 16 straight in the fourth quarter, and the man is almost 40, okay? The man's almost 40, and just watching him score 16 straight, I was like, oh, man, he's back, Bron doing it again. But then also the Kings kept battling. They didn't let that deter them at all. And then even DeMar DeRozan got on a little heater late in the fourth quarter. I thought that was a very exciting game, so that's why I chose that game. And then another game on that same night, on the 26th, I chose Boston versus the Pistons. Boston won the game 124-118. Tatum had 17 in the first quarter and he was kind of going nuclear a little bit in the first. Boston was up by like 20 plus in the third, but Detroit just kept fighting back. Very frisky team. I think Detroit's a very frisky team this year. And I literally was considering them, and I talked about it in my season prediction episode. I was considering giving them the last play-in spot, but I ended up going with Charlotte, and that might come back and bite me, And that's okay, because I consider Detroit. But they're a very frisky team. They've played, every game they've had, they played very tough, So shout out to Detroit and my Detroit fans on here. But then also, another reason why I chose this game is Derek White had he had a great block towards the end of the fourth on Cade Cunningham. I thought that was it was about a minute to go. I think if Cade would have made it, I think it would have tied the game or would have gave Detroit the lead. I can't remember which one. I think it would have tied the game, but then Tatum iced the game with 29 seconds to go with a fadeaway turnaround. Okay, so that's why I chose that game. I thought that was a really good game. It just kind of just showed, like, obviously the apex, the alpha in the NBA versus the pups that are, starving to finally try and start winning some games. But that will be the next phase for Detroit, obviously, is to win games, but also learn how to win close games, So I thought it was a good game. You got that veteran team in Boston, experience versus inexperience. I thought it was a good game. Some other games that were pretty great yesterday were the Knicks versus the Cavs. It was a very, very solid game, in my opinion. these are games that I was also considering talking more about. Another one was the Pacers versus Magic. I talked about it earlier. Paolo had 50 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists. And then the last game, these two teams, I think it's developing into a regular season rivalry for sure. And that's the Spurs versus Rockets. They've already played 2 games in the last, 5 days? And they have another game, a third one coming up. I think at the beginning of November. You guys fact check me and double check on that. But I think it's at the beginning of November. They play again. I know for sure they play again. I just can't remember when. But I think it's at the beginning of November. I think they play like 3 of their first 10 games against each other or something crazy. But that game was intense, like I said, I feel like it's a regular season rivalry that is for sure developing between 2 young teams for sure. So I can't wait to watch part 3. I can't wait to watch part 3 of that. But with that being said, you guys let me know, what games did you guys like? What were your games of the week? Drop in the comment section below. Let's talk more about it. Like I said, there's been a lot of games. I could have chosen any games. Obviously, there were more games I could have chosen from, but I chose these ones and I gave you guys my reasoning. But down in the comment section below, give me you guys' opinions on what games you guys really liked, or what did you guys notice within all these games that I even talked about, okay? Let me know down in the comment section below. My last segment that I'm going to talk about, it's going to be this last segment I'm going to talk about. It's rookie talk, okay? So give me 1 second. Now, with rookie talk, I'm going to talk about 3 rookies today. The first one is Yves Messi, and I chose Messi, and I actually talked about him in my New Orleans Pelicans season preview. I literally talked about him then. I might have talked about him in my post-draft episode. I can't remember. But for sure, my New Orleans season preview, I talked about him a good chunk. So while I'm talking about Yves Messi, this is why I'm bringing him up. Because right now, he's playing about 22 minutes a game. He's averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He's shooting 53% from the field, 78% from the free throw line. And amongst rookies, he's ranked 3rd in points, 3rd in rebounds, but he's 1st in offensive rebounds, and he's 1st in blocks. He played great, in my opinion, opening night for the Pelicans. He had some really good lobs, and he had a few blocks. He had 3 blocks, I believe, opening night. And he also had 7 rebounds and 3 offensive rebounds, and that was opening night. I literally said during my Pelicans season preview again that I was like, he might end up starting. So I kind of put him on you guys' radar ahead of time. When he was at Baylor, I kind of kept track of him. Not like crazy a lot, but he's for sure a very active big man, very young, very vibrant, got them young, springy legs. I'm still surprised I haven't started him yet over Daniel Theis. I still think there's a good chance that he will get the starting minutes at some point for this team. I'll be surprised. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I'll be surprised if he doesn't start over Daniel Theis at some point. But that's why he's on my rookie list, okay? I wanted to put him on you guys' radar if you haven't been keeping up with him. Another player is Donovan Clingan. Right now, Donovan Clingan is averaging 13 points. He's averaging 4 points a game right now, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, 64% from the field, 75% from the free throw line. And amongst rookies, he's ranked 14th in points, 2nd in rebounds, and he's tied for 2nd in blocks. And the reason why I chose Clingan is because I just told you guys he's only playing 13 minutes a game, and he's giving you 4, 6, and 2 blocks in 13 minutes. Most other rookies that have played are not, they're not giving the same. He's not playing that much, okay? His production, what he's playing for, what he's doing, it's impressive. It's really good. It's very well thought out. I'm interested to see if Portland will increase his minutes. I'm assuming they will as they continue to lose games. As they continue to lose games, he'll continue to see more action. But in the time he's played, I really liked his rim protection. He takes up a lot of space on the court. Like I said, I've been to about 2 Blazer games so far already this season. And I've watched Clingan, don't get me wrong. I watched Clingan when he was at UConn. I went to see him live when he was at UConn as well. But in the NBA, obviously everybody in the NBA is obviously bigger, but he just takes up a lot of space in the middle, takes up a lot of space. He's very active on the glass, which I like. So I'm interested to watch his minutes gradually, rise. And that's why I wanted to put him on you guys' radar because he's performed pretty well already. Like I said, he's 2nd in rebounds, 2nd in blocks in 13 minutes a game. Imagine if he played 25 minutes a game. What will you be saying about Clingan right now, okay? So that's why I got him there. Last player, I just talked about him, is Ryan Dunn. Again, I talked about Ryan Dunn in my pre-draft episode, post-draft episode, and in my Phoenix Suns season preview. Okay, I've been a fan of his since he was back in Virginia. But Ryan Dunn so far this season is averaging 15 minutes. He's averaging 8 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 0.5 blocks. Usually I don't bring up 0.5 of anything. I usually just round it up. But if it's 0.5, then I don't round it up. It needs to be like 0.6 or like 0.4 for me to round up or down. Usually is what I usually will do. But it's 0.5 blocks, and I just wanted to bring that up to you guys because he's a really good defender. Like, I said it literally in my post-draft episode and my pre-draft episode that I believed he was the best defender in the draft, and I still stand by that 1,000%. And I believe he will average a block or a steal, no doubt, a game once his minutes increase. But right now, that's besides the point. Let me get back on track. Sorry, you guys. I was getting ready to rant. But let me get back on track. So amongst rookies, he's ranked 5th in points, 16th in rebound, 14th in assists, and 9th in blocks. Like I just said, I literally been talking about Ryan Dunn. But the biggest thing about Ryan Dunn that I will say that even I didn't talk about, well, I guess I talked about him needing to improve his jump shot, but I didn't know he was going to, improve it. I didn't speak on it at all. So I will say that I don't think, maybe I did. I don't know. Anyways, he's improved his jump shot quite a bit. And I think that is because of the shooting drills he was doing over the summer with Kevin Durant. I have not seen no broadcast or nobody talk about that, but he literally was working out with Kevin Durant like all summer. So I think playing with KD over the summer, doing Kevin Durant shooting drills, also just getting that kind of confidence from a Hall of Famer, some people recognize as the greatest scorer in NBA history in Kevin Durant, him getting that kind of, sign off from him, I think was big for him. And I'm interested to see if his 3-point shooting stays, if he stay where he's at with his 3-point shooting. Because right now, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think from 3, I think he's shooting like 43% from 3. I don't expect it to be that hot. I do expect him, though, now after watching him, I do expect him to be about 38%, which is great from what he used to do in college. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but in college, I think he shot like 24% from 3, but his mechanic even looks a little bit better too. So, but I think, and I've said it in my Phoenix Suns season preview episode, I literally said that I felt that Bradley Beal needs to come off the bench and Ryan Dunn should start at the 4 and put KD at the 3. And I still stand by that. This kind of just proves what I thought and how I feel. No offense to Bradley Beal, but I just think it would benefit this team a lot more if Ryan Dunn started for them. Now, I want to thank you guys for watching the PJ Hoop podcast. And I ask you guys to give me your feedback on this episode. I have very much so been very much appreciated you guys giving me your feedbacks, because all I'm doing, I'm soaking it up like a sponge. Like I said before, I'm not a perfect man, but I am a progressive man. So I'm always open to taking in people's ideas. And if you like my structure, if you like what I've done, if you like how I structured this episode, please let me know down in the comment section below. But other than that, I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, you guys have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful day. May God be with you guys. PJ's out.